Giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Oh, yeah. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, presented by Boston Scientific. We live on YouTube and Facebook. And, of course, I am your host, and I am back. Will Skywalker still. Boom! Fine. Coming up today, we got the Cowboys notes from the Combine as I return. You know, the Dallas Cowboys brass can really make Cowboys Nation get up in arms. And I'm going to talk about a specific quote that Mike McCarthy mentioned at a luncheon, but I want y'all to redirect y'all attention to a different quote that matters more. Plus, in the roundup, we got personnel updates on a few players, and we'll get into all of that. But Cowboys Nation, Bomb Squad, it feels good to be back.
Bomb Squad!
For those who do not know, I dipped out last week because I was on a move. I am no longer, as you can see, the studio is a little bit different, and I'm still going to add to it. But I moved from a different part of Dallas to another part of Dallas, and I needed that week to get all of this together and just kind of unplug, right? I kind of went away from Twitter, took a hiatus, although I was on Twitter. I just wasn't participating on Twitter. I made sure I stayed up to date on what's going on with the Combine, the interviews. We'll be talking tomorrow about what Will McClay had to say down there. We got Vacha's show later. We'll be talking about the Combine. We'll have some guests on this week. We got a jam-packed week lined up for y'all. It was a lot that went on, so we're going to catch up as best we can. Missed y'all a ton. I already see people like, yo, what's that behind? This ain't real, y'all. This ain't real. But we'll fix all this up a little bit more as we move forward. But man, it feels good to be back. It feels good to talk to y'all, Cowboys Nation. How y'all doing? If you want to call into the show, you can. 351-999-3787 is a call-in line. Please call in, man. I miss talking to y'all. I miss fussing with y'all. I miss having good conversations with y'all about these here Cowboys that we love. And we just trying to figure out the best way to get this thing moving. That's all. We're trying to figure out the best way to get this thing moving so we can get 6. It's that simple, man. How we sounding, though? Everything sound good? Y'all feel good? I see we got the regulars up in here. Lord Nova in the building. Alex Jameson, Swain, David Jenkins, Toxic Tom was good. What a week to not be active. I loved it, though, you know, because, look, there's a lot of nonsense going on. There was a lot of over emotion going on. And to sit back, just take it all in and just say, just be patient. Let this sink. Let's think this through, and let's talk about it next week, man. Gregory, what up, Gregory? Trey Manning in the building was goody. Stephen White, Rosetta over on Facebook. Cole Jelly, a.k.a. CJ, said he digging the setup. Thank you, brother. Mark Smith in the building. James Rogley in the building. Bands, A. Lou. Splenda Poppy, Joey Vila. Man, you always changing that up on me. Who else we got? Airborne Bullies. Got Toxic L, was goody. Fonz, Brian, and the many more coming through. Appreciate y'all for jumping back in this thing. You know, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Miss a whole week. Maybe the first show you get like 15 people to show up. But y'all in here. What's good, Jose? And let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's talk about this roundup. There's some in-house notes we got to dive into first. And then I want to break down kind of this Mike McCarthy. Really not a presser, right? There was a presser. We're going to talk about a few quotes in that presser. But the main quote everybody got up in arms about did not happen at the presser. It was more of a luncheon, a.k.a. one of those informal type of situations. But Stick around for all that, Cowboys Nation. Got a good show lined up. Let's do it.
It's time! It's time! It's time!
It's time. It's time.
It is time for
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Hey, yo. Cuzzo. My cousin Terrence still about to get that second round tender. That's the word on the streets here. Per Michael Gelkin, per Bobby Belt, per those close to the situation, the Cowboys are placing a second round tender on Terrence Steele. What does that mean for those who don't understand the tender situation? This basically means that other teams will have the right to reach out and try to come to a contract agreement with Terrence Steele by April 21st. If they do, the Cowboys have the right to match that offer. If the Cowboys don't want to match that offer, they will receive a second round pick. Now, the tender is roughly $4.5 million, I believe, for 2023. So I don't necessarily look at this as a situation where they want Terrence Steele to play on this tender. I think they want to extend Terrence Steele. However, I like to ask y'all questions. If a team goes out and signs Terrence Steele and the Cowboys come back with the option to match it, how many of you guys will take the second round pick and how many of you guys will elect to extend or match Terrence Steele? Y'all know how I feel. I wanted to extend him last year in the offseason to kind of get out in front. They haven't really done that in a bit. They used to do it all the time. They have the opportunity to do it now. I think they'll place this tender on him to use it as a placeholder. I don't think this is one of those situations where they want him to play on the tender. I think they want to keep him here long term. So anybody okay with taking the second round pick, or most of you guys looking at this as, hey man, I'm trying to keep Terrence around. I want him here for the long haul. Looks like a lot of y'all are talking about extending and matching. Yeah. Trey, wake up, dog. We back. Keep still in DC. So Trey, he said, no lie, I'll take the second. Professor O, what's good, bro? Extend if too much, take the second. Should have put a first on him. Iceberg Q, that's fair, right? The first round tender, you figure nobody's going to touch it, but the historic data says that not too many teams do this with a second round tender either. But it is the Cowboys. Tackles on growing trees. Absolutely agree, Captain. I'm all about matching this thing. I mean, I don't think he's going to get anything outrageous. But here's the problem, man. As we know, offensive line play in the NFL is not aplenty. And a team could look at Terrence Steele, 5 years old. He's really athletic. He's a hard worker, great for the locker room, great for the team, a fantastic run blocker, and still developing as a pass blocker, but I still think he's good there. Just a quality offensive lineman, a quality right tackle. I've said it. I think he's one of the better right tackles in the league. A team might say, I'll give up a second for that. I don't got to go through the learning curve. Well, Sky's got the ACL. You're right. And later today, we'll talk to Dr. Boothby about this because apparently he's ahead of schedule and could be ready for training camp. You know who else is apparently ahead of schedule? Tony Pollard. Yeah. Jerry Jones, who also talked a lot down there at the combine. Look, Steven talked, Jerry talked, McCarthy talked. I ain't got too much to say about what Jerry, it's Jerry. Y'all know how I feel about when he talks. I don't like to go too far into everything he has to say. However, he did talk about the running backs, and he did talk about Tony Pollard, who looks like he will be getting the franchise tag. This was his quote on Tony Pollard. Quote, "That franchise tag is there and should be used used judiciously, used for the right spot. I really don't want to say it's a done thing because as these things come and go, you don't know where you are until the deadline comes and goes. But right now, certainly, Tony is a big part of our plans. He later added, the injury would be problematic to navigate while the team works on a new look offense, but it doesn't change the fact that they want him in Dallas. Again, the reports came out that he could be ready for training camp. And tomorrow is the deadline, so we'll have news tomorrow. I don't know if it'll be in the morning or it'll be for the primetime show, but we'll know something tomorrow about Tony Pollard. But this sounds like they are looking to tag Tony Pollard. Now, that in of itself could be an entirely different show, and maybe we'll talk about that later on in the week. Because not only did he talk about bringing Tony Pollard back, but he talked about bringing Zeke back. And this is where Cowboys Nation went off on Twitter. Jerry Jones also had this to say about his other running back. Quote, I know I've got a reputation for being reluctant to look at great players as they go into the later years of their careers. But I don't need empathy or a feeling of look what he has done for us when talking about Zeke. He'd also go on to say he still believes Zeke is a difference maker and he wants to try to improve. And he wouldn't try to improve on the feeling that he had going into the playoffs between Zeke and Tony Pollard. Now, again, this is why I don't really try to go too far into what he has to say, because I don't see any world where you tag Tony Pollard and you're bringing Ezekiel Elliott back. Now, we are talking about the Cowboys, so anything is possible. But man, I can't think that, first of all, his son, Stephen Jones, would be for that. Number one. That's number one. Number two, other people in that organization, the Will McClays of the world, are looking at the combine, looking at the running back draft class, and you're saying that this has to happen. Like, both of these guys have to come back. I find that hard to believe. I ain't talked to nobody down there. Jerry did come out and say he wants to bring them both back, but he says a lot of things. Hell, last year Steven talked about, we love to have Amari Cooper, but this has to work, that has to work, and then he was shipped off for a 5th round pick. So this is going to be a talking point until it's not. And they may not even make the decision on Zeke for quite some time, because the money that they'd save by releasing him now, it's about half of what it'd be if they designated him a June 1st cut. Meaning, if they designate him a June 1st cut, they don't even get that money until afterwards. So I truly believe Jerry's trying to find a way to keep both Zeke and TP. And if that happens, so be it. We're here. We got to find the best way possible to make this thing work and stay healthy and roll. But boy, I was looking at some of these backs, man, and I just don't know how this makes sense, man. Danny said Will McClay, your DoorDash order got canceled. if y'all don't know what Danny means, so don't kill me. Don't go back to Will McClay and tell Will McClay I said this. He might take it personal, man. I like Will McClay. But I liken Will McClay to the Uber Eats driver in this organization. I know he has a little bit more power than that. But what I mean is Steven is basically telling Will McClay what to go get at the grocery store. And if you ever order that Uber Eats or DoorDash or whatever, they have this option of, if we don't have this item, do you want a refund? Do you want a substitution or whatever? And I feel like that's what Steven does with Will McClay when it comes to pro personnel. College is different. That's Will's ballpark. Pro personnel, it's, hey, this is what we want at this price, this criteria. And Will McClay does his damnedest to go out and get the best players to fit under that. So that's why Danny said his DoorDash order got canceled. Toxic said this is getting Al Davis level. I would argue it was already that, you know. If I'm not mistaken, Jerry Jones, I believe, was influenced by Al Davis, and it definitely feels like Al Davis. I'm not gonna lie to you, it 100% does. Professor O said, didn't they say Zeke's reps would gauge his value at the draft because his value is down? I believe that is the case. I believe there was talks about, hey, we're going to get to the combine. We're going to see what his value is like around the league. And I can't imagine people around the league are like, yeah, we're going to pay him $10 million per. When you look at and definitely at the combine, when you see these running backs down there, right? When you look at the running back draft class, I just don't see teams doing that. Now, that's not to say that Dallas doesn't value him higher than other teams. You heard what Jerry Jones had to say. McCarthy ain't really saying anything about Zeke, so we can't go there. Steven, I think Jerry and Steven are going to – I think this is going to turn into the Dez situation again where I think Jerry wanted to keep Dez. Steven Jones didn't. So who wins that battle? And according to Dan Graziano – and ESPN, it is a likelihood that Zeke will be cut. Now, could he be cut and brought back? I don't know. There's a lot of things that could happen here. But again, I'll close it with this. Do yourself a favor if you haven't already to check out the running back draft class. This is why I'm okay with moving on. Flat out. All right, before I get to, you know what? I'll get a call. We got a call. We got one caller on the line. I'll get to you, and then I want to get to this quote that has the Cowboys nation up in arms that actually involves these running backs. But 850, what it is, what it do?
How you doing?
Good morning, good sir.
How you doing, bro? Good to hear from you.
Nice to hear from you. This is 1970?
Yeah, 1977. How you doing,
Oh,
brother?
77. I always forget the 7. What's up, man?
1977. Huh?
I always forget the 77.
Yeah, Dallas Sports 1977. You need to put me. You need to put my name down and everything, and keep my number. I can tell you my number and everything. We need to keep in contact because I'm trying to pull up the ranks and get big like you and Law Nation and Big Game James, West Coast Cowboy, Mark Holmes, and all these other great ones. Fan talking all y'all.
Thank you, bro.
I really appreciate young people. I'm an old man and everything. Just like I'm older than Mark Holmes though, but yeah, I was born September 15th, 1961. My Dallas Cowboys got their first victory 2 days after I was born. So I was liking them since 1960. Yeah, I've been liking them since 1966.
All right.
I did a video other day about less than a week ago, and I was giving my opinion and everything because I have been dealing with a lot of stuff. My son had cancer back in. They found the cancer. They removed it. They found the cancer.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thanksgiving, and they operated on him on Valentine's Day, and they removed the cancer at Advent Hospital in Tampa, Florida, by the University of South Florida. I got over that and everything, and then my stepsister died the week before Christmas, and then now I was sick in the hospital about a week ago. I was on the headed to work because I'm a tour bus driver for Astro Travels and Tours out of Tallahassee. I was headed to Northwest Georgia, waiting for some people coming from D.C. to take them back to Troy, Alabama. I got sick, and I pulled over, and then I called my boss and told him I don't feel good, something's wrong. So I drove to Tilton Hospital, and they found that my lungs had collapsed. I had pneumonia, touch pneumonia, and then my right side of my body shut itself down like I was having a heart attack and a stroke. And I could have killed myself. So now I'm out of work, and I'm trying to get disability and everything because I done had 2 major surgeries on my spinal column. Even I was an athlete back in the day, and I'd have been a referee, and I played football. But right now my body's breaking down and everything and stuff. And I'm at the point where I hadn't did a video, and since we lost that playoff game, I've been so upset with the Dallas Cowboys and the management that it took a toll on me because I put my whole heart, on my channel, I mentioned you in my last video that us great YouTubers put our whole heart and mind and soul in this team, in this and this family don't care nothing about us. I went to the Jacksonville game. Management lost that game. And sometimes I was listening to Cowboy Fan Talk, and he was saying one day sometime when he'd be out shopping and going to Walmart and different places, people walk up to him and insult him just because he wears a star. I said that on my channel too. That happened to me all the time where I get insulted because I love my Dallas Cowboys. I love my Dallas Cowboy brothers and sisters. I love y'all. I put my whole heart in this team.
Well,
yes, brother, I love y'all.
We appreciate you, and we appreciate your love. We got love for you as well, and I'm so sorry to hear all of these bad things happening to you, man. I really am. I tell you what, though, you might want to pull back on Cowboys a little bit if it's stressing you out like that with all that's going on with you, brother. I probably would tune out. What's going on right now until closer to training camp where you get some excitement, because I don't want this to affect you. But one thing I could tell you over this last quarter of century is that I think a lot of Cowboy fans should develop tough skin because of what's been going on with the failures. So I'm hoping that, people coming at you don't affect you too much. To me, I'm able to, it is what it is, man. When you're a Cowboy fan, you should be kind of used to this a little bit. So it doesn't get to me as much. It's our own fans where the passion and the emotion is greater because we all want the same thing. But outside fans, come on, man. Look, I'm used to it. It's been 28 years. I'm used to it by now.
Yeah, it is. My baby son that lives in Arizona, he's a computer specialist, and he graduated from Florida State with honors and everything, and he's a genius. And he kind of like tell me to pull back too, because
you might.
I've been real bad. I've been real bad off sick and everything and stuff, and I could have killed myself the other day in the company car.
Oh no!
But
no.
I said, right now I'm trying to get the disability. I'm gonna probably have to give up driving because I'm losing. Like my whole right side of my body is like going dead. It won't work. I'm right-handed and I'm having problems using my right hand. And I'm an artist and I'm a preacher. So, but the thing is, like I said on my channel, I was speaking about you and all other great ones the other day. How we put our whole heart in this team.
We do.
And management don't care nothing about us fans. When I went to that Jacksonville game, it was more Dallas Cowboys fans at that game than it was Jacksonville Jaguars fans. It blew my mind away how amazing it was. The excitement was unbelievable.
Yeah, man, we got a deep fan base, a very passionate fan base, and a well-traveled fan base. 1977, listen, you're in our prayers. I hope you get better. Don't let the Cowboys get to you too much, man. We're gonna keep it moving on the show, though. All right.
I love you, bro. God
Thank
bless.
you, brother. Appreciate you calling in.
Okay, bro.
I hope our Cowboy brethren gets better there, man. Keep your head up. Keep your head up, says Tino. Most definitely. Here's what we'll do. I wasn't expecting that, so I don't want to make a hard turn. So let's just take a quick little coffee break. And shout out our sponsor for the day, Boston Scientific. Oh, don't think they just went away. In the U.S., more than 39 million men suffer from ED, and Boston Scientific has created edcure.org to help you find your best cure. So to get started, you head on over to edcure.org, take the quiz, learn the severity or risk of ED, and if you have a condition that puts you at a higher risk, they have customized content for you. So if certain things aren't working, Boston Scientific can help you find your best cure. So hit them up at edcure.org.
You're listening to A to Z Sports.
Do it live!
At some point, hoping to broadcast
In front of the millions
of Cowboys fans to bring you the real. But for now, strap up and here's your host, Skywalker Steele.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
We'll do it live.
Hey, man, look. Y'all starting already. I missed y'all, man. Look. I tell you something. There's two shows that ain't for the faint of heart. This show and Situational Live. You gotta be You got to be bold. You got to be bold to come up in here, man. You got to be bold. And it's all love. It's all love. Is my boy Voch in here? Yes, sir. What's good, bro? Ah, man. Brody just had a birthday. Y'all know Voch is, a little younger than me. I didn't know that. All right, man. Let's get back to turning this thing around. I didn't expect that, but here we are, right? So the quote that seems to be getting Cowboys Nation all riled up revolves around the running backs, revolves around the running game. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show the actual quote first, and then we're going to talk about what I think needs to be focused on after that. So I get on Twitter. McCarthy didn't have his press conference yet, or he did have his press conference and it was a walk-off or it was a luncheon or whatever it was. And I see this. Make sure y'all hit up Voch's Cash App. Give him some birthday love. I see this quote and y'all want off. And I get it, right? But let me just read the quote real quick, break it down a little bit, and then we'll move forward. Mike McCarthy at this luncheon, I guess talking to reporters, just chilling. He said, I've been where Kellen has been. Kellen wants to light up the scoreboard, but I want to run the damn ball so I can rest my defense. Ooh, y'all didn't like to hear that one. I feel you, though, because the way that sounded, it's like, yo, are we going back to 1992? But just hear me out. He says, I think when you're a coordinator, but you're in charge of the offense. Being a head coach and being a play caller, you're a little more in tune with everything. Now, listen, y'all, I don't think Mike McCarthy wants to run the ball 40 times a game. I don't believe that's where he was getting at, but that quote definitely sounds like something from the 1993. So I get the outrage, right? But here's why I ain't tripping, because the more and more we dive into this thing, I know where he's coming from. I think he was not pleased with the situational ratio. And I think we'll see a difference in the how to run the ball, in the scheme of things. So put a pin in that, because he actually talks about scheme in his presser a little bit later. So, I wanted to go look at some fourth quarter numbers, because y'all know I've been on this. The Cowboys haven't really been closing out games for the last 3 years at the same rate they used to. Now, teams change. It is what it is. There is not necessarily an outlier, but there is a consistent basis in those 3 years. Neither here nor there. But the Cowboys in 2022 ranked 18th in fourth quarter time possession share. 18th. Well, Sky, what does that necessarily mean? I think that's where the situational thing comes in. For reference, Philly was second in the NFL. San Fran was fourth. Cincy was sixth. And Kansas City was 11th. Those were your final four teams to make it in the playoffs. And two of those teams went to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying there's a correlation, because I need to do more history on this specific stat. But what that told me was that we didn't know how to close out games consistently. And it also jived with what we were seeing, right? Meaning in the fourth quarter of a lot of these games, kind of looking around like, why are we running this, I don't call it spread, but this wide open offense? And I don't mean you have to run the ball 30 times in the fourth quarter, but you have to play complementary football. And that's something that Mike McCarthy talked about. And if you continue to read this quote, he says, I don't desire to be the number one offense in the league. I want to be the number one team in the league with the number of wins and championships. If you follow the Voch and Boy live show, we said this many a times over there. We don't care about being the number one offense. We know what that looks like. We don't care. I need you to be the number one offense when it matters. And we'll get to that in a second. He says, and if we got to give up some production and take care of the ball better to get that, then that's what we'll do, because we have a really good defense. Now, A lot of y'all do not like that quote. I get it. It sounds archaic. It sounds like, well, we're going to run the ball 40 times. But I don't think that's what he was getting at. And if you go and look at his press conference and listen to his press conference, I think you come away with a better understanding of really what he means. Now, why would Mike McCarthy want to be more balanced? Why would he want to run the ball more, specifically last year? Well, Cowboys Nation, the dude understands his team. He understood his team. He knew he didn't go into this thing with a pass heavy personnel, with a exceptional conceptual passing offense. He knew that. We knew that. We said this going into the season. You're going to have to lean on. When we say lean on the run, we don't mean run it 40 times, but you're going to have to play action, get under center, move the quarterback, maybe use his legs, and obviously be better situationally. Jory in her article said this about the offense. Dallas will aim for a cleaner pre-snap mannerisms to better disguise whether a pass or run awaits in hopes the defense cannot diagnose Cowboys' intentions until after the snap. Was another thing that we constantly talked about over the years. Teams knew what you were going to do. Teams knew, okay, in certain situations, if you're coming out in this formation, this is what you're going to run. That's tendencies, and Mike talked about tendencies. But the problem is, within those tendencies, you had no counters, and you had no creativity. A lot of your routes were very linear. They were straight type of routes. There wasn't any creativity in the passing game concept, and teams sat on that, right? But listen to McCarthy, because I think the thing that really pissed him off the most wasn't option routes. It was situational football. So he briefly touches on this, and when you hear him speak, right, he tries to go over this, but he really coming at Kellen a lot. Take a listen to Mike real quick, and we'll pause it. There we go.
Well, I just think like anything, everybody has plays, everybody has concepts. We're every player and coach, you have tendencies in this league. You're ignorant to think that you don't. And it'll be no different for myself. But it's just how you attack on the other side. So there's some things that conceptually that I'll believe in more in situational football than may have happened in the last 3 years. But let's be honest. I mean,
there's some things conceptually that I believe in that we had a difference over the last year. But let's be honest. Whoa, run that back, Mike. Run that back. He tried to go right smooth past that because he basically saying, listen, Kellen was where the button at. He was f***ing up situationally. I got tired of it. But nah, don't speak over it, Mike. Say it with your chest. It's cool. It's okay. We with you. Situationally, it was an issue here, and that's people that look at the grand scheme of numbers. How many times did we say it on this channel, on other channels, on other shows? I don't care about those volume numbers because we are so in tune with this team. We see the real issue. But what do you mean? Name some situational issues. How many times did we do that here? First down pass, you get a sack. You come right out, you do the same damn thing, you get a fumble. First down pass, you get a sack. You come out or early down, you do the same thing, you get your arm hit, interception. Happened in the playoffs. One of your best players goes down. What do you do coming out in the red zone on 2nd and 2? You come out and go empty. I think these are the situational issues that Mike is talking about. What do you do in the Green Bay game? You up 14 in the fourth quarter? Oh, you act like you're down 14 in the fourth quarter. So I think we're focusing on the wrong thing. A lot of people are focusing on this, and I understand because he said, I want to run the damn ball, and Kellen wants to light the scoreboard up. But if you really dive into what he's trying to say, it's not that I'm trying to go back to 1992. It's basically saying, I understand my team. And I understand situationally we have to do X, Y, Z and not ABC. So I'm not mad at Mike. Plus, historically speaking, Mike McCarthy likes to throw the ball early downs anyway. Would never be mad at a coach that understands his team. And I thought that Mike McCarthy understood his team from the jump. But Kellen and him never jived on complimentary football. And if you listen to Mike McCarthy talk a little bit more, he'll eventually go on to talk about the experience factor with Marty Schottenheimer. When he talks about Schotty, when he talks about Dan Quinn, listen to him and watch how he lights up, because these guys get it. These guys have been around the league. They understand the league. And Kellen is trying to become one of those dudes, right? He's trying to become a head coach. He's trying to, hey, look at my offense. Look at these numbers. Look what we do. Mike said, I don't give a damn. I've been there. I feel you, Kellen. I do. But I want to win. I want to win. So this is Mike McCarthy talking about having fun again and being back in that room talking about scheme.
All the input that I wanted the last 3 years too. So I think clearly when you look at the way Kellen coordinated in 19, just look at our run totals the last 3 years. We're different offense in 22 than we were in 2020, and that was part of the evolution of being more balanced, more complementary football, not as wide open in the drop back, just our drop back passing and normal down. So you look at all those things. So. But I'm really looking forward to the critique from you of how different it is. So, yeah, this is the most fun I've had since I've been in Dallas. Just to be in the meeting room again with the coaches full time. We've been getting, just to go, 8 to 11:30 and break, and you've been talking nothing but, scheme. I haven't had that. So that part's different, but then you have all these great responsibilities here that you have to keep doing, and so you got to delegate more. We have a good plan. I think doing this in year 4 is totally different than would have been doing in year 1, especially coming in with the pandemic and everything that we had year 1.
So again, some of the things that Mike says when he says it, I think it just kind of goes into the abyss. Not me. When he said this is the most fun I've had, and being able to get back into the rooms with these guys and talk nothing but scheme, that rings loud to me. That tells me what we knew already, but he's confirming it here, that Mike was really hands off. Now, he admitted, I had power to do X, Y, Z. I don't really think he did. I think Kellen was allowed to do his own thing. But he let Kellen do it. And if you go listen to the interview more, he talked about when being a walk-around head coach, allowing John Fossil, Dan Quinn, and Kellen Moore to grow, do their thing, and allow them to operate. He did that with Kellen, and then I think he had to put his hand around his neck and bring him in and say, hey, this is what we need from you. Okay? Clearly, you don't know how to run, so we just need you to do it. Especially with Dak Prescott out. So now we're just hitting these run quotes, right? These quotas, right? We're hitting these numbers, but we're not having a rhyme or reason. This is what we talk about, dribbling with a purpose. I think with McCarthy, I don't think you're going to see 40 carries a game. I think you'll see a difference in the how, and I think you'll see more of a dribbling with a purpose. And much like what I said last year about the defense, you may see a decrease in certain numbers, a decrease in certain production, but you may see an increase in overall defense. I think that happened this year. I think the same thing could happen in Dallas or with the offense. I think you may see a decrease in certain numbers, but the overall production could be greater, or it could be about the same in the sense of scoring, in the sense of third downs or things like that, because there were some really good numbers, right? Like third down when Dak Prescott got back, through the roof. Red zone, through the roof. And McCarthy talked about, hey, listen, we're not changing. It's not wholesale changes. At 30 to 35%. But it's that 30 to 35% that could be the difference in a more efficient run game, a more efficient offense, less turnovers, and more of complementary football. So again, don't focus on, but I want to run the damn ball so I can rest my defense. I think that's McCarthy being frustrated that situationally when it called to run the ball to help his defense and offense and team, whatever, It wasn't happening. Now you can say, well, Sky, I think you just capped it for Mike McCarthy. Could be. But I'm just going off of what I believe he's really saying in all of this. I don't think you're going to see the Cowboys come out here and run the ball 40 times a game. Don't see it. I think you'll see more balance, and I think you'll see more reason within that balance. And that's all I could ask for. That's all we can ask for, Cowboys Nation. All right. What's good, James? Let's get to the original OG, B Bird. What's good, family?
Hey, Scott. Hey, how you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. How was your vacation?
It wasn't necessarily a vacation, right? Because, you know, moving into a new house and getting all that set up, it was no days off. It was a lot of, yeah. You know what I mean? But,
yeah, I didn't know you was moving, man. Congratulations on the move. Too.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate you, man. But yeah, it was exciting, but it was a lot of work.
Yeah. So Kellen had way too much power. He was handpicked by the Joneses. And Mike McCarthy didn't hire him. That was part of the reason why, you know, Mike McCarthy kind of let him, when Mike McCarthy said, hey, you know, whoever calls the plays, you know, installs it, calls it.
Yeah.
He didn't want to put his hands in it, and I'm glad he didn't do it. But the problem I have is that Kellen we put too much on Kellen when it should be on who hired Kellen. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you.
He wasn't ready, man. And he actually may do better at LA Chargers because he might have to go up under a coach that hired him. One of the things that, and this is going to be a short conversation, but Kellen Moore was calling plays to gain a job as a head coach. Mike McCarthy will be calling plays to win football games.
Yes.
And the thing about it is Kellen operating in a vacuum. That was a problem. He just start score, get 35 points a game, get his head coaching job, but you can't have that. And you would not have that if Mike McCarthy had hired him. And that's whether, you know, I always talk hierarchies. That's why it got thrown off because you're more loyal to a person that hired you and you're not going to go off scripts. But since the Jones hired him, you know what I'm saying, it was a whole different animal, man. So I am looking forward to just regular old-fashioned football, some synergies between offense and defense, and just see where we go from there. I think we're going to get an advantage over that, just period, man.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's going to be a short call, so I'm going to holler at you later, man. I just wanted to put that out there.
Hey, man, good stuff, B-Bird. Appreciate you. B-Bird
right.
talked
Appreciate
about
you, brother.
synergy within the team, synergy within the offense. I don't think you'll see hey, man, we have philosophy differences. Of course you do, right? When you don't have a straight line of order, you're going to have difference in philosophy. And maybe the guy, Mike McCarthy, may be saying one thing or wanting to do one thing, but when the guy below him says, I'm going to try a different way, it's not going to follow all the way through to your quarterback, to your running back, to your receivers, to the line. It's just not. If he's not putting that power. I think he is now. Clearly he is. He brought a guy in Schottenheimer who's not going to, I think, deviate. And what I mean by that is I'm not saying that they're not going to have discussions of differences. That's different. I think philosophies will remain the same. I think they'll be in line. So you won't have as many. And again, I can't just gloss over McCarthy saying, well, you know, over the last 3 years, conceptually, I thought about things differently in situations. That is huge. So we learned two things. We learned McCarthy and Kellen have philosophical differences. That is nothing to scoff at. And then they had conceptual, situational disagreements. And you wonder why in the last 3 seasons, the Cowboys in the fourth quarter have been It hasn't been the same. The first 3-4 years, I told y'all Dak Prescott and the Cowboys game-winning drive numbers were through the roof. Top 3 in the league. The last 3 seasons, not so much. I don't think that is a coincidence. 3 seasons? Since 2019. So he's been a coordinator, for 4. Since 2019. I don't think that's a coincidence at all. What's up, Los?
Yo, good morning, Scott, man. Long time no talk. Hope
It's been a minute.
The move went smoothly for you.
It went much smoother than the original move. So, yep.
Hey, big on, you know, you work on to bigger things, you know what I'm saying? And hopefully you and Vach will be killing it in the studio because y'all deserve one. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, we trying, brother. Appreciate you.
Hey, and what I got just two things. One, Cowboy Nation, don't listen to Jerry Jones. I don't know if you saw what he was talking about Sky the other day, and I'll leave you for another topic for another day. But yeah, just don't listen to that, man. And second is looking at this combine and just looking at this team. I mean, there's a lot of good players, Sky, out there, and especially running back. So if this front office doesn't come out there and be like, man, yeah, there's no one that can replace Zeke out here, man. We just gotta keep Zeke for this money and keep on paying. But you don't buy that bullshit. Don't buy it. All right. But other than that, you're speaking on Kellen now and Mike McCarthy specifically is with it. We don't set it, Sky. We never had a scheme. We never had an identity. And I feel like with this, just a new, fresh breath air, we can actually talk football. Like, what are we gonna? Like you said, what are we going to do to set up a play action? What are we going to do to set up CeeDee Lamb? What are we going to set up to do Pollard? And in my opinion, I feel like this offense might look similar to what Romo and DeMarco Murray did, which is run the ball and set up those passes later. And you give me your opinion on that.
Yeah, appreciate it. Would it look similar? I guess similar is the key word there. I can't be mad at that. I can't be mad at that. I think it'd be more West Coasty though. I think we still saw more of a vertical offense under Jason Garrett at that point, which was Garrett and Bill Callahan. So I think it's Solari or Bill Callahan, run game coordinator guy. Could be. But I don't know you're going to get an 1,800-yard rusher. I don't see that because in this West Coast offense, again, they do passing as an extension of the run game as well to the running back. So while it might not say 35 carries, it could be 27 carries, but you can get 6 receptions from running backs that net 7, 8, 9, 10 yards that are just quick dump offs. So I think you'll see a little more West Coast, but I feel what you're trying to say. I think you're saying more leaning on the ground. I'm going to put a pin in that one. I still don't know that this Cowboys offense is going to be a run the ball 60% of the time, throw it 40. I think the opposite is still a thing. At most 55-45, but I think 60-40 is still the ratio that we'll see. I just think you'll see it more with the purpose, and I think you'll see a scheme. And let me just say this. B. Bird touched on this. Kellen may very well go have success over there in L.A. I truly believe that's possible, depending on how their personnel stands out. Because he's a 4-year, going into his 5th-year coordinator. He's learning. Remember, he said this, if I can find it. Where's it at?
Earlier in your play calling career, were you as persistent with the run when you're kind of beating your head against the wall like that?
Everything inside of me wanted to throw the football the entire Sunday. So but you learn, you grow.
You learn, you grow, right? Like he's learning and he's growing. So maybe, he gets better. He learned from here and he'll take some of the things he learned and implement them over there. At the same time, this doesn't guarantee that everything is going to work out here in Dallas either. I'm just happy that there would not be any breakage in the power struggle. There will be a synchronized process that everybody will be on the same page. And I'm hoping that alone will help improve in critical moments, because the critical situations were the biggest issue, in my opinion, over the last 3-4 years. Good morning, Coach Mark.
Hey, man, good seeing you back, man. Good seeing you back, man.
Thank you, good brother.
Well, I know you were just chomping at the bit with all this good, juicy Cowboy news coming out this week. You're like, wow.
I kept writing it down in my phone and notes. Like, just got to remember this, put this down, because I got a lot to say about all this. But we'll get to it. We'll get to it, surely.
Yeah, but let me. You have a very interesting point, and Mike McCarthy was totally correct, and you made a point about dribbling with a purpose, right?
Yeah.
And you made that point in the running game.
Yep.
But that point was also evident in our passing game.
Sure.
See, this is where I see Dak Prescott being where people are talking about he's one of the top quarterbacks in this league, not because he's going to be someone else's style, but he's going to fit to his style, and he's going to do it so great that makes him, what makes him look like he's the greatest quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in this league. I think sometimes people don't understand. One of the big, when we talk about measurables in the offense, we hit one of the biggest measurables that offenses like to hit in their play, because we average about 65 plays a game offensively, which almost led the league for the last couple of years. We were 1-2 in the league in total plays run per game, which any offense loves that. But on the other hand, when you ran that many plays and you almost last in time of possession, that showed that, well, okay, you running plays, but are you controlling the football game? And in this offense, I believe is coming up. Yeah, we might see some games a lot of games that we got 35 carries, and we might see a lot of games that we got 27 passes. But those 27 passes are going to look way better on the stat sheet than what the 35 or 40 passes look like, because you're going to have 27 passes, probably 5 touchdowns, because you're going to have crossing routes. Your play actually going to set up to have big plays, yak yards, where we're going to look like the stat line probably look like Dak Prescott, 21 for 20, 21 completions out of 27 passes, 4 touchdowns, 280, 300 yards. And
the sweet spot. You're saying there's going to be more efficiency in the passing game.
That's right, because there you go. Because those butt hooks and all those vertical routes with no crossing routes, nothing to get yak yards.
How many times, Coach, did we come on here and we showed a screenshot of the middle of the field, just nobody's there? He just got four verts and just nobody's in the middle of the field. And it makes no sense. And I don't think you'll see that from more of a West Coast principle type of offense. And again, we're saying West Coast. I'm hoping that's the case, but he hasn't confirmed that. But one thing Mike likes to do in his press conferences, he gets pissed off when people ask him about concept. He don't like to give it away. But I do think we're going to be leaning more.
And he shouldn't.
Yeah.
He shouldn't. I know as content creators and media people, they love, hey,
we want to know
their job to get the most information they can get. But you got to still stay tight-lipped. And then we go into about what Jerry was talking about, the offense and about the players and all that. I believe that this basically is Mike McCarthy's decision, because if we're going to go with this and we're going to give you the autonomy that we gave Kellen Moore, and now that it's your show to run, like it was Dan Quinn's show to run on the offensive side, just like he made the comment about the tight ends. We are evaluating. It hasn't been determined yet of how the tight ends are going to be utilized and what we need in the tight end. So, Coach, that's the same thing with everybody on that offense.
Can you elaborate what you mean when you say this is Mike McCarthy? What exactly are you saying is Mike McCarthy's decision?
It's Mike McCarthy's decision about what players and what style of players he wants, who he really wants to keep, and how he think he can utilize them. Because it's almost that he's got the EBT card. And the EBT card says, okay, all right, if I think this player needs to stay, I can utilize, I got a plan for this player. This player, I can make this player be more productive. This player right here, I think we can, with my offense, I think we can utilize him better. I don't think he was utilized to his top ability. If you're going to go with him, you have to give him that autonomy, because
I don't know.
If you don't.
Let me play devil's advocate.
Okay.
So here's why I don't know that I agree with that, because Mike doesn't have the ultimate personnel power We know Stephen Jones does. And when it comes down to numbers, Mike don't want nothing to do with that. And I think this is going to come down to numbers with some of these guys, right? Like this running back situation, for example. I don't think there's anything Mike McCarthy can do because it comes down to contracts. And if Zeke is not willing to take a pay cut, no matter how to bat Mike goes for him, he won't be on this team. If Mike McCarthy,
that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
so,
true. Yeah.
and in regard, because let's just be honest, we're talking about running backs here. And if we're really talking about the running back position, historically speaking, Mike McCarthy has taken guys in the draft and ran his offense successfully, whether it be second round, third round, fourth round picks, whatever. So I think he's adjusted to being able to use different backs before. So yes, he has a style, right? Hey, I want 6'3" wide receiver that can be a possession guy, or I want a slot guy that can do this, or I want a tight end that can do that. Yeah, this is the style I want. No doubt about it when you're running a specific offense. But in regards to these two players that we really talking about, I don't know that he has much power because it comes down to numbers.
This is what I'm saying with and you're right, Scott, about he doesn't have, he's not into the financials, right? Yeah. But he can say this. I can utilize this guy in these ways. Y'all see if y'all can work something out. Now, if it comes back financially, they say, hey, Mike, this is not financially worked out. In some cases, they're going to say, if he's going to say, well, I can utilize, let's say, and I'm not saying in this case, but let's talk about the tight end.
Yeah.
If you say, man, I think I can get, I love what Jay Ferguson is giving me and Henderson. I think we could utilize, these guys got great upside. I got packages to use with their athletic ability and this and that. And they say, well, I like Dalton Schultz, but I think I could get even much more out of this. Well, the Cowboys going to say, well, there's no you need to talk to Dalton Schultz. Hey, let's go and see how, Dalton, we don't need to talk to your agent. But if it is a player that he feels that he wants you to talk to, you will try to work it out to say, hey, well, Mike, we're going to try to work it out the best way we can because we know you can have it. But if we can't, we move on. I think they're giving him that autonomy, not saying, hey, this is the guys you're going to work with and you don't have nothing to say about it. And we don't want to work this guy. We just work with this guy. That's it. You just have to deal with something else. I believe now at year 4, going into year 5, I think you have to have something.
Historically speaking, it feels like the latter. Historically speaking, it feels like you're going to work with what we tell you to work with. Because I guarantee you, Mike McCarthy didn't say, hey, fam, go ahead and ship off Amari Cooper to the Cleveland Browns for a bag of chips. And we just going to roll with Dennis Houston week 1 and Jalen Tober. I can guarantee you he didn't do that. So I don't.
And guess what?
What?
You're right, Guy. He didn't.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have control about.
I don't think
Kellen Moore had that control.
No. I don't even think Kellen would have wanted to do that.
I believe so.
No, sir, Reba.
I believe.
No, sir,
Reba.
Hold on. Let me tell you why. Because Kellen Moore is trying to put up the best numbers possible, right? The best numbers possible. And to do that, you need to have the best players possible. And I think he would have said, I don't give a damn about Amari Cooper being boo-hooing. Put his ass out there and let's continue to eat. But he didn't get a shot. He spoke up in the media. And we've seen that if you speak up like that, the Joneses don't like that. So you're out of here. I don't think this was a Kellen. I don't think Kellen Moore went to Jerry and said, get him off my team and replace him with Jalen Tolbert and James Washington as I'm trying to become a head coach. Nah.
But let me say this right quick. Let me say this right quick, yeah. And this is an interesting point we with Mark Cooper. There was another show that we're not gonna name the person, but everybody know. I'm just gonna say he was inside the building. He said he's inside the building, and they were going over the thing about Mark Cooper but they believed in the reason why they got rid of Mark Cooper, but they felt it was a bad situation. They didn't trade him for enough value. And as you know me, Scott, I'm all over Cowboy stuff, and I always try to get my word out there. And my question was in the super chat to that person was that maybe Mari Cooper was right about the about the blandness of this offense and how it wasn't going to work. And the Cowboys decided that they could get better production out of rookies.
Yeah.
And
you hear what you just said?
People they picked up.
You hear what you just said?
Listen.
The Cowboys decided. Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones decided.
Hold up. I said Cowboys decided, and I've got to leave. There's one word I left out. The Cowboys decided that Kellen could get better out of these undrafted free agents.
Same thing.
Same thing.
The Cowboys decided Kellen could. It's the same thing.
Listen to me, Scott. And the last part was maybe if Kellen was gone sooner, you wouldn't have had the problems with Amari Cooper that you had.
Still not making a point.
Guess what the answer was?
What's the answer?
The answer was a stuttering answer about I don't know about Amari Cooper having any problem with Kellen in this offense, and cut it off like that and moved on.
I don't get what you're saying here, but here's the thing. Here's
what I'm saying is this. Kellen, listen, Amari Cooper saw the same things that me and you have been just talking about the passing game and about the not passing with the person, all these buckets.
Sure, but you're passing the buck.
Was the guy.
You're passing the buck. You know better than this, Coach, because you're a very smart Cowboy follower here. Kellen Moore does not have the power to do that. Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones do, flat out. And if Kellen Moore, think about this for we got to use our common sense. All right, cool. I don't like Amari Cooper, if that's the case, right? I don't like him so damn much. They're one of the top wide receivers in the league. So damn much. I'm willing to ship him out, get worse at a position that requires top-level guys in a system that requires top-level guys. Think about that for a second. I just don't believe that he had the autonomy to say ship him out, bring in dudes that don't even equal half of what he could be in this offense. And the reason why I brought that up is because, and the reason why I say I believe it's the latter of what you're saying is because offensively, historically speaking, the Cowboys have been known to have more, Cowboys brass, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, have been known to have more of a hammer over the offense than the defense. Had you come to me and said, hey, they said we're going to let Dan Quinn do his thing, pick his guys, and say, I want to keep Adana or I want to keep XYZ, I think he has more weight and power over the Joneses than any offensive coach has on this team because for whatever reason, mostly Jerry and Stephen feel like they can control this offense more than they do the defense. And the history speaks for that. Rob Marinelli, Chris Richard, Dan Quinn, all these dudes were allowed to sign and draft and do whatever they wanted while the offense always ran through who? Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones.
Well, let me ask you this question, Scott, and this closing. I know you got a lot of people because you're back. But let me ask you this question. Even though Kellen, we said Kellen wanted to light up the scoreboard, and even though I believe Kellen felt that his offense could work with anybody, right? If you got somebody who's got I don't
know that because he's never had a nobody. He's never had just nobodies. Right. He's always had dudes.
But if you have somebody who's that dude in the locker room that's underlining, talking about you don't know what you're really doing, if you don't get that out the way, he can destroy you by getting everybody on that page.
Sure. But
and that's the definition of clubhouse lawyers. Sometimes we get rid of clubhouse. And that happens all the time. That great employees get gotten rid of because they disagree with the person running it, and he felt that that's the cancer. When they talk about cancer, that was one of the things we mentioned about Amari Cooper, but they try to blow that off. But that's what they probably.
Let me bring this back.
He knew the exact.
This thing is going.
Cooper knew the exact same thing we knew.
You're okay. Let me bring this back to the original point here. I think that Mike McCarthy has more say from a schematic standpoint than the personnel. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You're saying you think he has more say from a personnel standpoint now because it's his baby.
I'm not saying more say, but I think his voice about what he wants on the personnel side is listened to a little bit more now on the offensive side than before.
I mean, yeah. Hey, I
that's what I'm
want
saying.
this type of guy at receiver. I want this type of guy at tight end. I want this type of guy at running back. I think those are fundamental things from a coach or a play caller or designer that you can say. But I don't think he can go in there and say, I want Ezekiel Elliott back no matter what. And they're going to be like, okay. I don't think he has.
I don't think they give that. Yeah.
I don't think he has. Yeah. I don't think he has any type of power in personnel. I just think he can give suggestions. Hey, Mike, what do you think about McCole Hardman? I like
right.
Cool.
And now we going to yeah. And just like Quinn did when he went out when they did it when he first year, he went out with. Remember, he said him and Will McClay went out and they got to know each other to find out what Mike McCarthy Quinn wanted. And they try to address and draft guys in the stack of what Quinn wanted.
And that goes back to what I'm saying.
Same thing with Bob Milner.
That goes back to what I was saying. Defensively, I feel like they give those guys a long leash. Offensively, I don't think they do that.
Well, I think they would. Hopefully, with Quinn and McCarthy, they talk. And one of the things he said, I think he talked so glowing about Quinn and their friendship. I think they're trying to bring, when you talk about identity, and I think that's
complementary
football. Your point was correct.
Yeah.
I think your identity has to spread through the whole team, not just on the offense and the defensive side, not with the philosophy, but just your overall identity of a team. And I think what you're so right about, it may not work, but it's a better fit when you don't have that
breakage,
that battle, that breakage there. And so now they may be saying, okay, we allowed Quinn to do that and we were successful. Not saying he had total control, but we were successful. Let's marry the two and see how far we can go.
I'm going to touch on that in a second because he did bring that up in his presser, but appreciate your call, Coach. Good conversation.
Yep. Appreciate you being back, brother.
Yes, sir. Yeah, he brought that up in his and I think Coach touched on it, the relationship. Like him and Dan Quinn are tight now, right? Like that's one of his better friends. And I think it's also because he trusts Dan Quinn. He knows Dan Quinn's been around. He used that term experienced again. And he said one of the main reasons why, he could just be saying this, that I was okay with taking over this offense the way I want to take over it is because I don't have to look over there anymore. Again, if you go back to that quote, in the quote, he talks about being a head coach and being a play caller. You're a little more in tune with everything. And he talks about, I want to run the damn ball so I can rest my deep. He's looking at the total picture. And I think he has the trust now of say, listen, I don't even need to look over there. Dan got this. I can focus on making this offense as efficient as possible to win a championship. Good stuff. All right, we got a lot of callers on here. I'm going to try to get to as many as I can. I got to get out of here about 9:50. We got Dr. Boothby coming on. We're going to do a recording and talk about a couple of these potential free agent injury situations. We're not free agent, really, Cowboys guys. And we'll get that knocked out. So we got about 20-some minutes. So let's see if we can get through these. DJ, what's good?
Hey, what's good, Scott? We missed you, brother. Glad to have you back, man. Glad to have you back.
I missed y'all, brother. I missed y'all.
No, I guess I kind of wanted to touch on a little bit of what Coach Mark was saying in the early beginning of that, which is the efficiency of the offense and what it could be. I mean, it's a lot of speculation at this point, but when you're talking about, because yes, the offense has been number one or top three in points and yards and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But then you were saying, the time of possession, and I just kind of think back to like the Super Bowl or a couple of different playoff games that I watched where an offense was completely dominant, but if you just went and looked at the box score, you wouldn't have seen that. Mahomes had 182 yards or something like that, but if you were watching the game, you were never in doubt that they were about to go score a touchdown when they needed to go score. It was a surprise when they punted. So
twice
with the guys that we have and the weapons that we have, it's just better utilization on movement down the field, more consistency, because with us, it was a lot of boom or bust. Either everything was working or nothing was working, and that could change from series to series, quarter to quarter, half to half. Like that, it would go 100% bright hot to 100% cold. And the question I got for you is what would be the tipping point? Like if we had a 15th ranked offense, but the scoring was more efficient, the situational calls were almost perfect.
I don't want to drop that far.
Is that
well, 15th ranked in what? In what? Because again, we talk about pillars defensively. There's also pillars offensively, and scoring points is one of them. 15th in scoring points? Nah, I'm not with that.
For sure. Maybe 15th, but like we've been top 3 for 3 years, running, right? So like, let's say you drop to 7 to 10, somewhere in there.
Sure.
But the situations have been is handled. It's hard to say perfectly, but
look,
tremendously
DJ,
better.
If you drop the 15th and you're 14-3 and you win a Super Bowl, no one cares, right? But I'm thinking of if we are the 15th ranked offense and we get into the playoffs and we're playing like the 15th ranked offense, boy, you better have one of them ones on defense, right? And I'm talking about one of them ones, not. I'm talking about they getting the playoffs and they getting turnovers left and right, giving the ball back to your offense, and they just absolutely dominating, giving up 3 points, 9 points. I mean, they got to be dominating if you're going to be a middling offense. So I would much rather still stay in that top 10, top 12 type of situation. But again, what other numbers are we talking about? Right? Are we 15th in third downs? Are we 15th in red zone? Those things matter too. You know what I'm saying? So I think we'll see, like he said, right, a willingness to say, hey, listen, I don't care if we're number 1 in yards. The Cowboys have been number 1 in yards like 4 times or something like that. But if we drop down to number 9 in yards, but we're still 4th in scoring, or we drop down to 12 in yards, but we're 3rd in scoring, I think you can easily take that, right?
For sure. And the last caveat, and I'll let you go because I know you're trying to get these people in, is if third down efficiency, like all you said, all those metrics, red zone, third down efficiency, and maybe yards per play, and that metric, and time of possession are higher. I think that is definitely what they're leaning towards. At least that's what all the context clues is telling us with the new hires and how they're structuring things offensively and all that kind of stuff. What they've been saying, all of that.
Yeah.
But we won't know that until we get closer to training camp and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, man, just glad to have you back. I appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Brody. Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to find. I think there's a misconception on the TOP when Dak. I think when Dak got back, the time of possession jumped drastically because they were converting on third downs. Like that's the main. Always see this time of possession thing, right? Like time possession is not about just running the ball. It's about converting on third downs. And Dallas is one of the top third down conversion teams when Dak returned. But the problem was when he was out and in week 1, when he played those first 5 games or 6 games, whatever it was, Dallas was not great in third down. And they lost the time of possession battle like seemed like every game for the first 6 or 7 weeks of the season. So that kind of dragged them down. And they were ranked in the 20s, about 22nd overall. And that goes back to what we were talking about in the fourth quarter. Let me find those stats. In the fourth quarter, they were 18th in the league in fourth quarter time of possession, where that really matters now, right? When you're nursing a league, you're sitting on a league, you want to be efficient, holding the rock, converting third downs, and scoring points. You want to do all that in the fourth quarter. Dallas ranked outside the top 15. All 4 of the championship teams ranked inside the top 11. So I think that's one of the places they want to get better at is closing, right? Let's get to 469. What it is, what it do?
What's up, guys? Quincy, man.
It's good, Q.
Back from just a sabbatical, man. We all missed you. Boss for sure. So I can't wait to hear you at 3 o'clock as well. But I want to talk about Kellen Moore. The biggest thing that I want and I hope that Mike gives us is efficiency in the red zone. Give you an example. You remember the Jacksonville game when Trevor Lawrence threw the pick. We had it on that side, and we kicked the field goals that was scoring a touchdown. Things like that I hope with Mike McCarthy, he makes more efficient. That we, in the red zone, like for instance, we might be 10th in points, but we're in the top 5 for red zone scoring. I love that. That's what we need.
Yeah. Let me say this. One thing I did not have a complaint about was the red zone. What pisses me off, though, is that one week we see an amazing plan of attack in the red zone. Then the next week it's like, where did that go? And there was no better example of that than the playoffs. And if we go back and look at Tape Tuesdays, we talked about the Buccaneers game. I kept saying between the 20s, there wasn't a whole lot of anything creative going on. But once you got into that green zone, red zone area, boy, he turned on the master plan. And it was beautiful how they executed down there. But then you fast forward to the Niners game, and once you get to the green zone, red zone area, it's like all that disappeared. And that's what pissed me off more than anything is that we didn't see a consistency from week to week. However, though, from a total standpoint, the Cowboys are one of the best red zone teams. So I'm hoping that doesn't change. I don't want to see that drop too much. They were number 1 last year. I would love to stay in the top 5, but obviously wins are the most important thing.
That's right. Now, the other thing that I kind of want to see the team improve on is the run game on first and second down. I've heard you talk about it all year, the creativity in the run game that we tend to not have. He just sometimes just ran to run it. Where with San Fran, you knew San Fran was going to run it. You knew they was going to run it. And if you look at the offensive line compared to the offensive line, it's not that off. You're not that off as far as talent. But they still was able to run it down your throat, even though you knew they was going to run it. And so I really do hope that with the changes that we have brought in, that change, because Kellen, that was one of his weak points, was that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think this dude cared at all about running the ball. And it's clear because he didn't have a plan of attack. He didn't have a scheme. He just was running to run. And you definitely can't do that with, and no offense to the people that, or the big-time Zeke fans, you can't do that with Zeke. Like, you got to have a plan for a guy like Zeke because he's a specific style of runner. And even though I'm willing to move on and whatnot, I'm also understanding that you got to put him in the best position to succeed given who he is now, too. And I don't think Kellen did that.
And I'm not sure if you talked about it earlier, but I know Allen Robinson is asking for a trade. And I like Allen Robinson when he was a free agent before.
That boy getting paid,
though. No, but he's offering to give back a lot of money on his guaranteed money. And the Rams say, okay, just find a partner. Would you rather have Brandon Cooks or Allen Robinson?
Cooks.
I think so too.
You know what's crazy though, Q? Is that Robinson fits this West Coast McCarthy style though. Like that's the type of guy that he usually drafts. But give me Brandon Cooks opposite of CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, come on, man. It's boogie.
I appreciate you, Scott. Can't wait to see you this afternoon too, sir.
Oh, I can't wait for later either, man. Appreciate you. That's a good question. Allen Robinson, Brandon Cooks. I want Brandon Cooks, but Allen Robinson was 6'2"-ish, possession wide receiver, can work in the tight windows, slants, things like that. I get it. Give me Brandon Cooks. I did see that Robinson, though, is requesting. Also, I know people have been kind of dropping. Apparently, Derek Carr, I have not confirmed this. Derek Carr is signing with the Saints, was it? Was it the Saints? Y'all? I'm just trying to see if I can get this breaking news. Can somebody confirm that real quick so I'll make sure people listening to this is like, oh, Sky wrong. But I believe it's the Saints. So there's that. Yeah, Saints 4-year deal for Derek Carr. I believe returning with Dennis Allen. Wasn't Dennis Allen his head coach in? Wasn't Dennis Allen the head coach in Oakland? I think he was a head coach. He was a head coach. He was scoring. He was something over there, and then he came over to New Orleans. So I wonder if that's why he's going back. So there's that. Yeah, I don't really care about him either, but it can have a domino effect on what happens in certain areas. All right, we got about 10 more minutes, so I'm going to try to get through these as best I can, y'all. If I can't get to you, my apologies. 704, what it is, what it do?
What's up, Still? This your boy from Charlotte.
What's good, man?
What's up, brother? I was calling. I know I was just thinking about something. I know Cowboy fans ain't gonna like this, but I think we should draft the quarterback with our first pick. And I think we should draft that kid out of Florida.
Oh, look,
draft that kid out of Florida.
I like him. I really do.
I want to draft him out of Florida. Now, Still, listen to me, though. This is what I'm saying. We're going to give Dak everything he needs. We're going to give Dak Odell.
First pick,
we're going to go out and make some Still, it's time to put the money on the table. And I think, I hate to tell you this, too. I don't want to restructure Dak either. I know they want to, but I
extend
don't.
Him?
I say we let him.
You mean extend?
Yeah, I don't want to. Extend. Yeah, sorry, extend, because I want him to play these 2 years out, and if we wash our hands with him, good, man. It is what it is, because my real true feeling is he got all the talent, and he make it look good sometimes. It's just in the clutch moments, he's not. He's not.
And that's what sucks. That's what sucks, because he was. There was a point in time where he was one of the most clutch quarterbacks in the league.
But I think that injuries caught up. Hey, Still, there's another thing why I want to draft the quarterback too, because we know he's gonna miss some games next year too. We know he's gonna miss some games, and let's see what we got. Put our rookie out there. I mean, most people say, I don't think he'll miss. Yeah, he been missing games ever since he hurt his ankle.
He has been.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see what. Every year I say, he gonna miss. Yes,
listen, I'm all about drafting the Q. In some point in this draft and trying to develop. First pick a little bit rich for me. That a little bit rich.
But still, if you get the kid out of Florida,
you got to trade. So are you willing to trade next year's first round pick? And probably multiple, not just next year. You at 26, so to trade up to get him, which is likely in the top 15, you're talking about trading next year's first round pick, this year's first round pick, and probably a couple other picks. If you're willing to do that, then you got your guy. But
I don't think I'm willing to do that. But I think that kid right there is the next. I'm not gonna say super awesome, but I think he's the next Cam Newton.
I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's really uber athletic. I think he's a good. Yeah.
Is it worth risking the 2 picks?
For me, no. No. Not for me, because I don't know that I trust our system just yet for a guy like him. Here's the thing about Anthony Richardson. I love the potential that he has, but he needs to be put in the right system. I mean, all quarterbacks do, right? Like everybody got to go to the right system. But like, seriously, he needs to go to the right situation. And I don't know that this is the right situation just yet. We don't even know if McCarthy's going to be here long term. And that's another thing I do. I like him sitting behind Dak for 2 years with McCarthy, and then we have something to look forward to. But I just feel like, I know you got to go still, but I just feel like my boy, I like Dak. I love Dak, but it's just the time I'm starting to wash my hands, you know. That good watch, too, when you've been working on a car. You know, you've been working on a car, that orange watch. I'm washing my hands with that. A lot of people are. A lot of people are, and I get it, right? I understand his frustrations. We've been, it's about 7 years now, and so I get the frustration. Me personally, my frustration is just directed towards, in my opinion, a bigger issue. And I think we have a guy that's good enough to do it. I don't know. We have an organization, but that's another thing. Do we have a guy that's good enough to overcome the organization is the bigger question. And I'll tell you that right now, as much as a fan as I am of Dak, I don't think he can overcome everything here. He's going to need them to get their act together to help him out. He's a guy that needs help. I'm not going to sit here and act like he doesn't. Yeah.
Hey, still, I know this is my last question. What are your first 2 picks then? What do we need? What are you drafting? Offensive line?
That's content, bro. That's content. Look. Sorry. It's all good. Look, I got it's the week of the combine just ended. So we got a show. I don't know if I'm gonna do it tomorrow or not, but we got a show where I got our top 5? Either top 5 or top 3 draft needs. So just stick around for that. We'll dive into that.
Hey, still, I know Blatcher hang up on me if I say draft the quarterback. I listen to y'all guys sometimes if you want to hang up on me when you say draft the quarterback. But I really do. Hey, still, I think if we got a chance to get a difference maker, man, a guy that can run with it. And I mean, I think the NFL is just changing. I mean, I think you could be there because even Patty Mahomes can run that thing. And the kid look like he got all the arm talent in the world. You know, but still, thank you, brother. Be blessed. I'm gonna listen to the rest of the show on the tube. Appreciate
yes, sir.
You, brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Yeah, you said on Vacha. Shove it.
Oh, say it again. Say something else. Oh, say something else.
I've come to the point where look, we're going to get these type of people that want to get rid of them and want to draft a quarterback. I'm not against drafting a quarterback. I'm against drafting a quarterback first. Now, that's going too far. But I draft one. I draft one day 2, day 3. You know, let's develop. Sure. Big Sar said I should have hung up. Nah, man. Nah, I ain't going to do that. I don't mind the opposite takes on them. It's when it go too far. It's when it go too far, man. You know, there's people that can be coming on in comments and get upset because I debate. For those that have been here forever, y'all know me. I will have a conversation. Whether we agree or disagree, we're going to have this conversation. The conversation might be passionate. Some people don't like that. They just want me to just sit back and not say nothing. I can't do that to y'all. Y'all sit on the phone lines. Y'all hold. I'm sure you don't want me to just be back here like, yeah, no, okay. Thanks for calling. But you can't please everybody. I'm still learning that. 602, what it do?
Scott Walker Still, welcome back, buddy.
Yes, sir. What up, though?
Chilling, it's your boy DP Johnson, man. How's it going?
It's good, DP. I know you was really tuned in to the combine this week.
Oh man, you know what? I was kind of I kind of told myself I wasn't gonna get into it too tough this year, but I got stuck in, man. I couldn't help myself.
I was dabbling in it. I told myself I'm not letting the underwear Olympics change my mind on anything. But it's always fun when you see a certain player kind of do something extraordinary out there.
Yeah, like for me, I wasn't looking for any player in particular. I was just kind of watching it. And as I'm watching the combine, I couldn't help but start this thought process. You know, we were about 2 months ago, we were all hollering about this draft class wasn't going to be like the last couple of draft classes. But after watching the combine, I'm thinking that a lot of us should probably go back and recheck some tape because a lot of these kids checked out to be a lot better level of athlete than we suspected across the board in terms of D-line, linebackers, and all that. Even offensive linemen were a lot more athletic than I think a lot of people would expect. I don't remember seeing as many 5'2s and 5'1s.
I'm really trying. It's hard, man, because you see these numbers and you're like, man, that's great. But then you also have to put in context, like, what do some of these even mean, right? Like the film is saying one thing, but they trained for these numbers. And I get it. For them, I'm not blaming them. They got it. This is how they make some more money. This is how they can advance in the draft, get picked instead of the third, they get picked in the first. But if the film is saying one thing, because that's football speed now, right? It's hard for me to take it. Which sometimes what I try to do is say, all right, is his athleticism on film matching what happened at the combine? That's about the most I can take from it.
I can hear that. But here's something I really wanted to make sure I got out to Cowboys Nation still. Do you remember when Zeke came back from Cabo? He did an interview, and he was smiling like he didn't have a care in the world when he got back. And they asked him, they said, Zeke, like, you running down there during camp? And Zeke said, Kellen's only got five run plays in his book anyway.
Oh, he said that? I don't even remember that.
Yeah, he said that. He said Kellen Moore only has 5 run plays. But people wonder why Zeke fell off the last 3 years. He's got less carries, and they're less diverse in the approach. So how could he, when everybody's focusing on stopping Zeke on 5 run plays, how could he be the same Zeke?
Yeah, the production from a total yardage and carries is going to go down, especially when they're incorporating TP, right? That's going to happen. And that's why I say I'm removing the numbers, because there is context to that. Yeah. He's not getting the same number or same carries, whatever. It's the other things I try to talk about when we're talking about Zeke. Like, is he moving the same? Is he have the same pop? Is he becoming an injury concern and things like that? Those are valid concerns outside of attempts, outside of total yardage and whatnot. And that's where, to me, I have to say I don't know that I can move forward because he's now age 27, which is all the carries he got, that's like 33 in NFL running back years. He's not going to get healthier the older he gets, and he's not going to get faster the older he gets. So I think they wore him out those first 3 years. And then when Kellen became coordinator, while he was still in his prime,
Kellen was here.
He didn't use
Kellen
him
was here to phase him out, bro.
correctly. Yeah,
Kellen was here to phase Zeke out.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about him dropping Amari that 1 year. Kellen's job was to phase Zeke out of the offense, and he did it gradually. Every year, his carries dropped.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, look, I can play the button again. Kellen said, "I want to run. I throw the ball. I want to throw the ball all over the park. I don't really want to run." And then when he does run, he's running just to hit a quota, and he wasn't using his backs right. Not just Zeke. He wasn't using Tony right. You know. So
hold on, Scott. You remember that game a couple years ago when Zeke was out and Tony had to play a 49er game basically by himself, and everybody got all excited, and they said, "Oh, Tony tore the 49ers up. He had 125 total yards. The dude had like 65 rushing and 65 passing. Receiving. You know what I mean? He only had 12 carries. So why are people surprised that we didn't run the ball the last 2 years in the playoffs against San Francisco if Kellen Moore already showed he wasn't going to run the ball against San Francisco?
Yeah, he showed
that was his pattern, not Dak's.
He showed it 3 times now, right? 2020,
2021,
2022.
We refused to run the ball.
Yeah, which is crazy.
This is coming off of off season where we swore we was going to run the ball. So yeah, I just want to point that out. That's on Kellen Moore too. Even Will McClay came out in his press conference and said that he didn't necessarily say Kellen Moore, but what he said with the coaching staff we have now, we can have confidence that if I get you a good player, that you'll play him. So I'm pretty sure there's even some people in that front office who weren't exactly happy with players not touching the field or the players who were. Case in point, Josh Ball got horrible slow feet. I just watched because I was watching the combine this weekend.
Oh shoot!
I ended up clicking on one of the all-time videos.
Yeah.
Guess who ran at 6'5", 315, ran 4.8? Just guess who?
6'5", 315. Was that Broderick?
Nah, Avante Collins.
Oh damn! You talking about? He's like an 8-year pro. I don't remember.
No, Avante Collins is a 4-year pro, girl. I'm talking about my practice squad.
Yeah, I know. He's been around for a minute though, so I'm exaggerating.
But what I'm saying though, if you got you gonna put Josh Ball slow foot tail on the field first, and you got an athletic freak that plays the same position right next to him, what are you doing?
Freak. I mean, you had Jason Peters too that was there, and you threw him out there first, which was goofy. But I hear what you're saying. Josh Ball.
Yeah, I can understand putting Jason Peters out there. He's a Hall of Famer, bro. But when you sit there and you put a dude that nobody can explain why he even made your 53 out there before you put in a dude who's already got playing time with 2 other teams.
No, I get you. But I want to go back to something you mentioned about allowing these young players to play real quick. But I gotta get going, man. I got a couple more callers I want to get to before we get out of here.
All right. Well, let me just say, still, we are glad to have you back, bro. We missed you. Keep rocking, bro. Bomb Squad, what up?
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, DP. He said something along the lines of the young players getting an opportunity to play. I think Jerry came out and said, this was weird. He said something about he wanted a scheme or an offense that allowed these young players to step up. Now, again, I don't like to dive into everything he says, but because DP had mentioned that, Jerry also brought that up. And maybe when you talked about maybe some guys in that front office started to lose little favor from Kellen, hey, man, we don't think this scheme can allow these young guys to come right in and succeed. And you can say, well, what about CeeDee Lamb? Well, CeeDee Lamb is a first-round all-world type of talent that also was sandwiched in between a 1,000-yard receiver and a Pro Bowler when he first came in. And it's CeeDee Lamb. But the way the Joneses operate in free agency and in the offseason, it requires young guys to come in here, be focal points, and step up right now. We need you to play and exceed right now. And if that can't happen, because Kellen has never been put in that situation to rely on a bunch of young dudes, then maybe, just maybe, Jerry was like, this might not work. This might not be what we want, because we're not going to go spend We're not going to go trade a first round pick for a D-Hop. Could be a second, but that's what I do. We're not going to go spend big money on whoever the top wide receiver is or the top tight end or the top running back or what have you. We're going to remain the same. We're going to rely on young guys. So we need a scheme that's a little bit easier on them. And it's obvious that this scheme is not easy on these young guys. Out of their mouths, they said it ain't easy. All right, I thought I locked these up. I didn't. No, I can't get to all y'all. I want to get to the two that were left. I think it was 202 and 346. I hope that was right. 202, what it is, what it do. Got to make it quick.
Ah!
This ain't going to be quick. What up, JR?
Jack on the line. Good to have you back on.
This Jack. What's good, Jack?
What's how? First, how you doing, Scott?
I'm doing good, man. Settled in a little bit from the move and just excited to talk Cowboys with y'all.
Absolutely. Now, with all due disrespect, Scott, I want to play devil's advocate right quick, right?
I love devil's advocate. Let's do it.
So Jalen Carter got a little issue going on, right?
Oh, so
which potentially might knock him out of the first 10 picks.
You get messy
now.
now.
You know, people don't like,
You get messy now. Go ahead. Yeah, Jalen Carter got an issue. You right.
Oh, you already know I went to shit. You just came back. I got to start it out right.
Go ahead, man.
He might get knocked out. He might get knocked out of the first 10.
Yeah.
You know, Jerry like people with a little bit of dirt on their coattails.
He do.
If it's possible that he's there at 26, if it's possible that he's there at 26, you take him?
Hell yes. I don't think he's going to be there at 26. But if he's at 26, yes.
Just with all the legalities and all the stuff, you know how it go on. You know what I'm saying? When Collins had to deal with his issue, and he went undrafted, and we went and got him. So I'm just saying it's possible. And then I watched the combine this weekend, and it wasn't a lot of relatively fast guys. I mean, we had some athletic guys, but like as going back in other combine years, it wasn't as flashy as fast. I mean, yeah, like I said, you had athletes, you had 44-inch verticals and all of this. So I think that the combine kind of shook up some draft spots.
You know what? I want
with Jalen Carter.
Save that for later with Voch because I'm gonna ask him that question. Matter of fact, I want to ask him that question courtesy of Jack. Because I don't know if it did or it didn't, but I know he would know if it did or didn't. And that's what I try not to do. I try not to let the combine shake me up. But then you see a guy like Washington from Georgia do what he did at that size, and you're like, man, look. But
and then all the players from Maryland, they stood out. All the players from Maryland, the receivers, the cornerback, all of them stood out from Maryland. So I'm just saying.
I hear you, man. Hey, look, let me get going, Jack.
Hey, bro, good to have you back.
Appreciate you calling in. Call in later on Vacha Show.
Oh, you already know.
Salute. All right, let me read some of these super chats before I get out of here. At least let me do that so I don't forget that. I'm up against the time right now. Got an interview with Dr. Boothby in literally 3 minutes. So appreciate y'all for donating, coming back. So let me run through these real quick.
Super chat.
Andre, my bad. He said, sign your damn cousin. We lost our toughness at the line of scrimmage as soon as Steele went down. I will open hand pimp slap Steven if he leaves. He ain't going nowhere. Appreciate you though.
Super chat.
Towboat Ty says the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Boy, if that ain't the Jones family.
Super chat.
Twan dropped one. I think he dropped two. He said, hello, folks. How is everything? Appreciate you, Twan. And then he dropped another one that says, Sky.
Super chat.
You shocked me today, young old man. Hand clap, my guy. Hand clap. I think it was because I think it was a Zeke situation. But you know I'm fair. Judges got this thing, right? Tough but fair. I'm tough but fair. That's all I try to be, man. B Bird.
Super chat.
He said, if Zeke was a free agent, how much would he get on the open market? Is that number an insult to him if the Cowboys offer the same thing? Great draft for running backs. It's a great question. It may be an insult because of our situation and relationship with Zeke. But you're right. If he goes to the open market and they're only willing to pay him $5 million, and that's what the Cowboys are willing to pay, then maybe it's not necessarily really an insult.
Super chat.
Sully dropped one, said, "Hey, Sky, I'm glad you back. Landlord had us breaking down the 2019 Combine like it was 2023. Hey, Landlord, you was breaking down the 2019 Combine. Find out we going back in time here." And then Sully dropped another one.
Super chat.
That says, "Sky saying, what up, though? Been watching too much BMF. Actually, I have. However, that's a saying that just, I don't know. We were saying that up north. So, but you're right. I've definitely been watching a whole lot of BMF. It's a great show. It's a great show. Oh, you know what? Maybe this is a conversation I gotta have on Twitch with Vach, because there's some things about it. And I know it's not all true because I actually watched the documentaries and read up on Big Meech and them boys. And I just gotta laugh at some things because 50 Cent is wild. Hey, what are we doing, 50? All right. Look, I apologize to the callers. I'm up against it here. I got to get to our interview with the doctor. Please call back in tomorrow. I'll make sure I get you. There will be no time restraints. This week, we might do a little bit longer shows because I was out for a while. So we'll get to everybody that we can get to. But I got to get in and get out and do this interview so we can get this content out for y'all. Appreciate y'all for joining me as always, Cowboys Nation. It felt good to be back. It felt good to talk Cowboys football with y'all. Do me a favor on the way out. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the show. If you're new, you don't know how this thing goes, hit the sub button, the bell, so you know when we go live. Later, Mo will be on prime time. I'll be on Vach's show, Vach Lombardi Live. We are back, baby. Back. It's going to be fun. With that said, hit this button. Get that up out of here. Appreciate you, Trey. Oh, what am I capping about, Trey? I'll read this part, then I read that part. Come on, man. Hey, son. He said Charles is the 2-pump chump. Oh, man. That shit wild, man. Love y'all to death. We out of here. Peace. Charles don't know how to act, though.
Squad!